Hello everybody, welcome back to the Jane Lawrence Alcott channel. Just to say before we get started, I've been on a stag do all weekend. You can hear it in my voice. And some of the other reviews that I've done over the weekend were at this house. Everyone thought it was my gaff. It wasn't my gaff at all. It was a place that we were staying at, and we had a good time. So if you want to check out the place that we were at for our stag do, then you can go and do that. But that's why my voice is going a little bit. I'll be honest with you guys, I may be sick during this live stream, but I've got enough enthusiasm for England to do this live stream. So let me know your thoughts, let me know your comments in the rest of the nation. The mentality of England is always a big talking point that we go through and analyse. I want to talk about that. I want to talk about, can we actually play without fear? And then of course I want to talk about the lineup. I'm not going to go into Tunisia too much because I think with England, the players we've got, it's about us. It's about England. It's about what we do. So let's start off with the whole feeling around England. Now, I'm quite pleased at how it's kind of turned around. I feel like initially people were so pessimistic about the whole thing. But what's been impressive is that people have been able to kind of move forward and see what this is. And I think a huge reason for that is the fact that deep down most people want to be optimistic about a team that they're going to support, and a lot of people will not fancy England, not enjoy that whole international football aspect of it. But for me, I think it's a great opportunity for you to watch the best tournament in the world and really care about it. So I'm pleased that England fans seem to be stepping towards the players, because I don't think England fans have done themselves any good in terms of the negativity that they've shown towards it for a long time now, certainly since Euro 2016. And ultimately, look, these are games of football. Look at the World Cup so far. Spain have dropped points. Portugal, they've got one guy and he's tearing it up. Argentina have struggled. Germany have lost today against a team like Mexico that no one would have ever thought could do something. So either way, things can happen. It could go horribly wrong, but it could go really well for us. What I'm really impressed with is Southgate and what he's done. Let me just see. Let me just try and get the comments up, guys. There we go. What I've been really impressed with Southgate is that he's actually had to have the mental scars of a whole nation on his shoulders, and the way that he's dealt with it with calm, clarity, has been really, really impressive. He's done his reputation a hell of a lot of good. And just to say, guys, whilst you're watching this, hit that like button if you could do, because that would be really good for me. I'd really appreciate it. And if you're new to the channel, then hit subscribe, because I'm going to do loads of World Cup content. But Southgate's been a counsellor for the nation, like I said, and I don't think anyone really wanted to give him a chance. Everyone was ready to see him as a joke, but he's slowly stepped forward, made the right decisions. He's intelligent, but ultimately now it comes down to how well has he prepared this team, both mentally and tactically. The mentality that I worry about with England is that there's going to be a moment where we're going to be struggling. And Tunisia, from what I've read, they like to keep the ball. And so if they keep the ball for a decent period of time, then I can imagine England players and fans alike at the stadium getting agitated, which, I mean, that happens in football, that's fine. But I hope that the players are calm enough to deal with all of that. Sooner or later in this tournament, we're going to be 1-0 down. And what I'm really intrigued to see is how they can cope with any kind of setback. I think there's been such panic in previous tournaments, and I'm intrigued to see what England fans will do once that moment comes where it doesn't go our way. What will they be thinking? Let me know your thoughts and your feelings on the game right now, and I'll read through some comments. Let's have a look. Matthew McGann, I have a really bad feeling that at some point someone will score an absolutely crazy free kick against England. Well, that's going to be Wabi Kazri. He's their main man for all of that. Yeah, it'll be him if it's anyone. I've got the shakes. That's how hungover and drunk I've been this weekend. Never seen this much support for an England manager before. Great to see that. That's true, Nevin. I agree. Moed saying Walker should be playing right wing back. I think that's interesting. For me, we'll get into that. Don't worry. Just checking in, lads. Cheers, Jazz. QPR to win the FA Cup or England to win the World Cup? I'll answer at the end of the video. And what else have we got? And a lot of people talking about the lineup. So we'll get to the lineup in just a second. But I just see it as, I think the way that Southgate has put this together is that he looks at it, he's trying to create it as an opportunity. And it really actually is an opportunity for this England team. There really isn't, I think there's hope. There really is an expectation this time. But I think we've got players that seem intelligent enough to be able to deal with the ball, create things, dominate possession, but also like pick teams apart if they defend deep. And I think the team that apparently Southgate has picked, we all know that he's told the team what the actual team is going to be. But what I've been reading as well is that Gareth Southgate has said that the way that they're structuring how they talk about giving the lineup, they're looking at it as starters and finishers. So people like Ruben Loftus-Cheek or Fabian Delph or those guys who might have to come off the bench, I like the way that they're putting it towards these guys, that they understand that this, more than any other England squad ever, this England squad is gonna be about the whole squad. It's not gonna be about that set 11 that you know you're gonna get all the time. Do you know what I mean? So let me know your lineups, and I'm going to go through the lineup that everyone is talking about, and it looks like this is what it's going to be. And ultimately, I'm kind of happy with it, to be honest. So the team, as it stands, it seems to be Pickford in goal. I'm happy with Pickford. I think he's better. I think he's a better goalkeeper than Butland. Butland's actually had a poor season. Craig on Great Touch for a Big Lad podcast, who you can go and subscribe to that. That's my football podcast that I do with my best mate Craig and a few other guys. He's a Stoke City fan, and he said Butland has been dodgy at times. And so I think Pickford's... look, anyone can make a mistake, and I really hope he doesn't in this tournament. I hope he has a really good one, because look, you can see with David De Gea, even he can have an absolute nightmare. And people at the Spanish press are talking about should he play in the next game. Can you imagine him doing that for England? If he had one mistake, we go fine, because he's been that good this season. So if Pickford does make a mistake, I really hope that I really, really hope that people don't go crazy and get on his back. I mean, they probably will, but Pickford, I think, is the right choice. He's the better footballer out of the two, and I think that's going to be a big part of it for us. Then the back three, it looks like it's going to be Walker, Stones, and Maguire. I think a lot of people were thinking that Cahill was going to be the guy who's going to start, but I really like the way he's set up. Muad Chali saying there, what are we saying, mate? The thing with England is that there is no identity to that team. Southgate is very pragmatic. Interesting. I'm liking the 3-5-2, but I don't think there's any clear vision. I would disagree with that, mate. I really would, because I feel like the way he's set up for this game, and this is what I was talking about, it's about the squad. It's not actually going to be about that bog standard 11 that always plays every single game. It's because I think he's going to pick the players, and I know it sounds like a boring, obvious fucking sentence, but I think he's going to pick the players to win that game. And I think, I've said this a few times, but I believe that, especially with the fullbacks, so the wing backs that we're going to have, it looks like it's going to be Ashley Young and Trippier on both sides. What I think's really clever about that, in terms of utilising the options that we've got in our squad, especially against teams that aren't really going to go for it. So it's not going to be two guys going for it. I think in that kind of game, you need someone who can get up and down, like Danny Rose. And I believe that Danny Rose will play in the big games. I think he'll play against Belgium. I would not be surprised if you didn't see him for the first two games, but then he played against Belgium. But Young, I can understand why he's being picked. I don't think he's the first choice left wing back. I just think he's the right one for this game, because these teams are going to defend deep, and we're going to have to find a way to get through and create little overloads around the pitch. And this is what I think he's doing. And I'm really... Initially, I was like, what is he doing with Walker? Where is everyone playing? But you saw against Nigeria, and you can kind of see the same kind of blueprint in the Costa Rica game, that we've got different players that can play in this system, the same system, because the movement of that team is really, really good, I think. Let me know what you think about this whole team. So let me run through it all. Pickford, Walker, Stones, Maguire, Ashley Young, Trippier, Henderson, Dele Alli and Lingard, and then Sterling and Kane. Charlie Wise with a comment. What are you saying, bro? Southgate has said he will not change his system at any point, even if we are chasing the game with not long left to go. Although it's great he has confidence in this system, it could also be a downfall. I think that's a great comment, mate, and I think ultimately the players need to step up now. Southgate has done everything in his power to get the PR right, to keep us all calm, to kind of be realistic with our expectations, but also create a bit of positive feeling about it. And I think England fans have been good enough to step forward, do you know what I mean? And try and put aside their negativity. But it's down to the players now. It's up to the players now to step up. And I think he's got the team right this time. And as I was saying, I think with the 3-5-2, especially against teams that are going to defend deep, what you're going to see here is width. We're going to try and make the pitch as wide as possible, and then you've got that safety net of the 3 centre-backs. Walker, the right-sided centre-back, I think he's a really good option for us, especially against the better teams, because there's going to be a moment where it's just another point of attack when it starts, do you know what I mean? And I think Walker will be able to come out with the ball with confidence, and he's not going to give it away. The man I worry about at those back three is actually John Stones. I think he gives the ball away way too much. I thought he was awful against Nigeria, and he's the name that just keeps coming to me every time I look at this the team that I've got down here. I just think he could be the guy who makes the mistake that knocks us out sooner or later. Ashley Young, let me get to that point, because I think him playing left wing back, the reason for that is to create this width. You create the width and then you play the ball into these little channels. And you can see almost like a square of 4 players in Kane, Sterling, Ali and Lingard, who are all comfortable picking up the ball in between the lines. And by playing Young and Trippier, you've got 2 players who will start wide, but Young certainly will then just play the ball back into those little corridors. And I think that it'll suit Ali, it's going to suit Lingard, it's going to suit Sterling, and it's going to suit Kane as well, because they all like to move around. I think we saw that. The other thing with Young as well, and Trippier, I think if teams are defending deep, sometimes you get a cross in, and that might be another opportunity, because Lingard, who's going to start this game, and I think he's done really well to get to a point where he's a starter in this game, he could easily score a couple of goals during this tournament, because his ability to arrive late into the box is really clever and smart. I think with the amount of movement that we've got, teams are going to struggle to deal with us, and we're going to pull people out of position. And so if Kane or Sterling does that by dropping off, I can see Lingard being that late run and scoring goals from that. Trippier is a great crosser of the ball. I think he's really underrated, and I'm pleased that he's playing right wing back. I think it'd be a waste. I think instead of Walker's world class as a right wing back, but I think, Jack Brain, you feel differently. I would prefer to see Walker and Stones at right and left centre back with Cahill in the middle. That way, there's cover for any potential mistake. That's interesting. Ian Barber, your subs to come on to get the goal if needs be. I think Loftus-Cheek is going to play in games. He excites me. Rashford, I think that was a dream for Southgate. I don't think he was ever going to start him in this first game, but the fact that he can score a worldie like that, and I also like the way that I think Rashford has no respect for anyone. And so against these lesser sides, I think you saw against Costa Rica, he just had a laugh, didn't he? And he took them to the cleaners for most of the game. So I think he's a great option off the bench. And I think if we need the running, he's going to bring on Delph or Dyer in defensive midfield. And you can see how the game's going, and he might even move it so that he goes a bit more conservative, takes Lingard or Ali off, and plays 2 DMs. I'd be amazed if he did that, to be honest. I can't really see that happening. But the last person we wanted to talk about was Raheem Sterling. Everyone's been talking about him a huge amount. And I went to this Betfair event, and they were talking about different odds, and there was 100 to 1 for Raheem Sterling to be the top goal scorer for England. And people were laughing, saying there's no chance Raheem Sterling's going to do anything like that. But if you've seen the way that he's been playing, he's been the guy on the last man. Let me know, actually, should Vardy be starting in this team instead of Sterling? Because Sterling will be the guy who they look to try and get to go beyond. And Kane's actually going to be the one that's going to drop deep and then play those passes, because he's got such a great ping on him. Expect to see Kane pick up the ball and switch it. You saw it against Nigeria, him doing that, and I think he'll do that with Trippier and Young to do exactly what I was saying earlier, which is make the pitch bigger. But Sterling, if he can get a goal early doors, I think there's a real story waiting to be uncovered here with Sterling. Because if he can get one goal, then that's the albatross around his neck gone. He can then take a breath, enjoy it, and totally switch the way he thinks about playing for England. Because I think he does play with attention. And it's a shame because he's one of our best players. So I would love to see Sterling get a goal. And if he gets one, this is Tunisia. You never know. We might be able to get 2 or 3. The one thing I really believe is that it's not going to be easy. Look at this tournament. Like I said before, I'm going to go to your questions in just a second. So if you've got any questions, let me know now. There are going to be moments where it's not going to be working out. I can imagine it being 0-0 at half-time and everyone feeling this tension. But what I really, really hope is that this group of players look at this World Cup as an opportunity instead of a pressure cooker where they're scared of failing instead of concentrating on the task at hand and just playing with confidence, because we've got real quality in there. Let's have a look at your questions. Any questions, guys, let me know. Right. Sorry about my finger here all the time. Mexico versus Germany game thoughts. I thought Mexico were great. I thought Germany, it's that usual thing, isn't it, where I think it's so hard to retain a trophy once you've won it once. You're the biggest game for everyone else, and they looked a little bit arrogant in the way that they stepped up to this game, and they weren't fluent. They didn't seem fluent at all, and Mexico deserved it. They did. It's great to see Chicharito crying at the end. You always got to love a few man tears. It's always good. Let's have a look. Sebastian saying, I would start Sterling and bring Vardy on when defenders get tired or the game opens up. There's no point in playing... Oh, I've lost it. There's no point in playing Vardy against a team which parks the bus. Yeah, I think there's a lot of truth in that. I'm really excited about Vardy coming on against Belgium. I think he could be a massive threat to us in that game. You could see in the Mexico game, which just happened, that ability to counter-attack is crucial and useful. And Vardy coming off the bench with 20 minutes to go, when it's been a high tempo game, that could be really good for England, because he is so tenacious, he works so hard, and he scores goals. Raheem hasn't scored a goal for England since 2015. Ian, I know that, mate. But look, he's playing up front for England. We're playing against teams where we might get the opportunity to score some goals. And so if he's going to be the last person right at the top of the pitch, then there's no reason why he can't score goals. And if we're going to do anything, he's going to have to score some goals. Moa Chali, no way Sterling is much better in holding the ball and dribbling. Panama and Tunisia are probably going to sit deep, which wouldn't play into Vardy's strengths. So he's staying Sterling as well. Milesy20 saying, hello mate. Jack Brain, hello pal. Potentially Rashford over Sterling, depending on who we're playing, but Vardy didn't look great in the system in the warm-ups. It's a completely different role to what he does at Leicester. I think that's true, and I go back to that point that I think it makes sense for him to come off the bench, and I think he's just going to be a real asset when we get to the later rounds where there's a lot more space for us to counter-attack into. And I think that's an actual aspect of this entire team that you're not going to see until the knockouts, or certainly to the Belgium game, because we're just going to have the ball for the whole, for the first 2 games, to be honest. Jack Cow up with Walker. It's not about him, it's about the defensive unit. Having him in there backs the back 3, looks much more solid than Cahill, Stones, Maguire, any other option. Totally agree. I also think Kyle Walker is a superb defender now, because I think he's grown into his defensive responsibilities, but he's also got that electric pace that allows him to get out of trouble, and so he might be able to get other players out of trouble when they look to counter-attack against us. What else we got here, guys? What do you think about Harry Maguire, guys? Any Leicester fans there? And let me know what you think. I really like him. I could understand if you went for Cahill just because of his experience, but again, it shows how Southgate's just not... He's totally fearless, Southgate, and he's willing to go, no, look, we don't need that experience. Maybe you just utilise the exuberance of youth and can crack on from there. Ian Barber, any threats from Tunisia? Haven't really heard of any of their players. You won't have heard of them really, because the Tunisian league, there's quite a lot of money in it actually, and because of that, a lot of the players stick around. They don't go to France or to other countries to play their football because they're quite happy being there because they're getting paid decent money. So that's why we won't know many of their players. They've got a player called Chakri, who's a defensive midfielder. He's the captain of Montpellier in Ligue 1. 22 years old, about to turn 23. And so he's one of their sort of decent players, sort of quite a tall DM for them. I forgot his name. He's a Leicester centre back. Belayoun, I think that's how you say it. He's a centre back for Leicester City. He's only played one game this season for Leicester, but he, I think, will just be on the bench because he didn't initially want to play for Tunisia due to family reasons, which I don't really understand. But he then decided to go once they got to the World Cup, so he was happy to be in there. Wabi Kazri, he's going to actually be playing up front, which is odd. It's like Lingard playing up front for England. The reason they're doing that is because their main centre forward did his cruciate. And so that's a big loss for Tunisia. The way that they play, as I say, is a lot of 5-yard passes. They're not really going to play any long balls, and they can't do that because they've got Wabi Kazri up there. So expect them to try and play football. Hopefully, the way that we press, and we've got a lot of players, Ali, Lingard, Sterling, Kane, all used to pressing high up the pitch. I think that could be an opportunity for us to get goals because they're going to look to try and play football. And if we can get at them early and set those traps, you know, that whole team is used to pressing. That's actually where a few goals might come from. I wouldn't be surprised if that happened. What else we got, guys? Jack Bray, more or less confident with England's chances given how much the supposed favourites have struggled so far. I think that the other side of that as well is the fact that, I mean, ultimately, if they can struggle, then we can struggle. Do you know what I mean? You just don't know what's going to happen, and it's almost like it's safer. This bit's nice, isn't it? We can just go, oh, nothing bad's happened yet, so yeah, we're going to win the World Cup. That team looks totally different based on the result. If you win the game, we win the game well. We look at that team, we go, oh, hang on, these are all players who play for the top teams in the country, pretty much. But if they don't, then you've got a 33-year-old right winger playing left back, you've got a right back playing centre back, and you've got a right winger playing up front. So it really is down to the players now. It's up to them now to do something. Because I think sometimes in football, you need to meet each other halfway. And I think England fans are starting to do that. They're starting to creep forward to the England players. But the England players need to do it back. A couple more questions and then I might go. Matthew McGann, how many times do you think Loftus-Cheek will meg someone? Hopefully lots of time. Masakni, as you said, Muachali, he's the centre forward, Tunisia's best player, yet he's injured. James Carragher, given the Germany result, if we draw or lose, what do you think the response of the fan base will be? Tends to feel like there is a slight fickleness in tournaments gone by. I think that's a cracking comment and something that has been a huge frustration of me, that we haven't been able to go to understand the fucking nuances of football. Like the fickleness of England fans disappoints me because you don't just give up on your club side. So do you want to make a decision? Are you going to support a team or not? You know, I can understand if you don't want to be a part of that. That's totally your choice and I understand it. But if you want to support a team, then you need to support them in the exact same way that you would support your domestic team. So that means when they lose, you get behind them again. That's believing in them, hoping they do well. You look, feel free to expect the worst, but hope for the best. And if it doesn't work out, give them support and strength by backing them again. That's what I hope we can see this tournament. But as I say, it's down to the players to meet England fans and the press halfway. I think the press are ready to help. And ready to understand, again, because of the way that Southgate has set up this whole England squad. And so they just need to meet them halfway, and I think it's a really good opportunity. But a good start goes a massive way, and a bad start is going to become a real test. I don't know if England players can play without fear anymore until they get a break, till they get a bit of luck, and until they overachieve. Then they can start to believe that they can do something in tournaments, because they have been playing in fear. They totally froze against Iceland. It was embarrassing. But as supporters, you know that if you don't, you can be a positive force for the team, which is your team, or you can be a negative force. And so it's down to England fans and the press a little bit to, to behave themselves and just step towards each other. I think it's down to all three, because I think we're all sick of fucking losing, man. Sebastian Krasaminski, what type of content can we expect over the World Cup? I'm going to be doing a lot of reviews. I've got an exciting announcement that I'm going to be making midweek, I think, this week. Bull Street's going to be amazing as well. There's an England preview with Flav and Sam from United People's TV, so go over and check out that. I'll put a link to that in the description. If you don't know, if you're watching me for the first time, then please hit subscribe. But also know that I work for a channel called Bull Street. That's a class channel. There's going to be some really great World Cup stuff there as well. So make sure you head over to there and subscribe to Bull Street as well. And hit like on this stream, because it would do me a massive favour. I can see 48 people watching, which I'm really chuffed about. That's really great. But yeah, if you could hit the like button, then it would maybe help me a little bit. I don't know. Maybe it won't. We'll see. And make sure you just check in as well, because that's what it's all about, isn't it? Right, last few minutes. Sufyan. Hello, mate. Yes, James, got here late. How was the stag do? Stag do was decent, mate. It was decent. I was up till 6 in the morning. Very, very drunk. I was on the a lot of gin overnight, and it was class, man. It was class. I can't really say too much more than that, because it was a stag do, but it was good. Fabro2310, you drive into the World Cup. Listen to the Great Touch from Big Lad podcast, and you'll find out a little bit more about that. Carlos David, can you get some Rory short shorts? No chance, mate. Not having that. How did you get a job at Bull Street? I'll tell you what, I'll answer that, Matthew, maybe another time, because obviously this is just a review, but mate, thank you for the question. But I will answer that. Maybe when I get to like 10K or something, I'll do like a question and answer thing. Maybe that'd be cool. If you want me to do that, let me know. Jack Cower, Great Touch for a Big Lad over the World Cup. Abso-fucking-lutely. Subscribe to this channel. Go subscribe to the podcast. We'll be doing that as well. Millsy20, at least England are in the World Cup. Win, draw or lose, you have a chance. Me being a Dutch fan, it's been tough to watch how far down we're falling. That's a great comment. That's the thing. We're in this tournament. Think of Wales fans, Scotland fans, Italian fans. They're not even there. So fucking hell, guys, let's just enjoy. Yeah, I cannot wait for the game tomorrow. I'll be doing a reaction after the game, definitely, and I'm having a few people around, so I might film that and we can show you the highlights of us watching it. Ian Barber, this is a good one to finish. Ian, thank you for watching, mate. I think you've been watching the whole time. Thank you for everyone who's been watching. As I said, hit that like button, subscribe to James Lawrence Alcott. My prediction for the game is this. I think it will be a tentative first 20 minutes. I think we will get a goal after about 30 odd minutes. I think they will equalise, and then I think we will go on and win the game 3-1. Sterling will score a goal, Kane will score a goal, and Maguire will score a goal from a set piece. That's what I think, man. So there you go. There you have it, guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you've enjoyed it and you want me to do this more, because it's nice to sort of have a back and forth, because I really appreciate all you guys sort of jumping on board the channel and subscribing. It means so much, man. So yeah, if you're new and you've enjoyed it, then hit subscribe. Lots of good stuff coming up on this channel and on Bull Street. Go head over to that channel. Check out the England Tunisia. Struggling. See you soon.